Alright, it's moving day. This thing's gotta come and be disassembled. Whew, this is something I'm not particularly looking forward to doing, but it has to be done. Been thinking about how to do it over the last however many weeks, and I'm pretty sure I think I can do it. It's just going to be a matter of doing it. Some things I need to be very cautious about, very wary about, is this little back setup is pretty rigid. So I think the theory is I'm going to come in and we'll have to drain these grow beds and basically empty them out completely. As far as the plants go, the kale itself I haven't really been observing it too much. I know it's slowed down its growth since I tampered with it. The broccoli plant, like this side, obviously it hasn't been touched, so it's looking really good. One theory that I'm going to do, I'm going to have a better look when I'm able to get in there, is I'm probably going to pull that broccoli plant. As far as the fishies go, I haven't fed them in a couple of days or so I'm sure they're probably wondering what's up. They have a pretty stressful day ahead of themselves. They won't know what's going to hit them. I have 10 of these 5-gallon buckets. So the idea being is I'm going to put probably 2 goldfish in one bucket, the rest of the fish in another bucket. There's not a whole lot more I can do than hope for the best. My biggest concern is spilling water. I do not want to spill water. I've got towels with me for like the little drips. That isn't too big of a deal. But obviously I do not want to, create any problems. And going into the new place, it's going on to a hardwood floor, and I'm going to assume it's the type of hardwood floor that is not to be wet. But in my new place it'll be a little more sensitive. But once it's all in there, it'll be all good. It's just getting it in there. Alright, so a little status update here. Emptied out these bins here, and in the second bin here, there's a similar root issue that was going on. It wasn't severe, obviously, as the first one the first time, but it was enough of me to actually have me really thinking I gotta be very mindful of what kind of plants I put in here. However, things like the kale and the broccoli potentially could be grown in a different sort of system that could be done in the house as well. So I'm going to figure out what smaller plants to put in here when I do make that move over. Down here I got the couple of goldfish out. They didn't like it. The other fish are kind of spooked. What I reckon I'm going to do is see if that fits inside of a bucket, and if I can, great. And then I'll put that with the other fish in there. And alright, she's all disassembled. She's in the truck right now. The only real sort of little issue that I had is I had a little bit of a spillage. Fortunately enough, it landed on, or it was on this thing here, maybe approximately a liter. So, not the end of the world there. It was a little mistake on my part. But yeah, other than that, she's out of the corner there. Not looking forward to reassembling it, as this one here got here at about 2 o'clock, 6:46 right now. So, it's taking a few hours to disassemble. These plants I'm going to get rid of, I think. I'm going to probably start fresh and clean. Maybe I'll keep the rosemary, but the broccoli I want to put in that into something else, and I don't have the infrastructure for that just yet. But I do want to grow more of that. Alright, so all the stuff's in the back of the truck more or less, except for those odds and ends. So everything fits in here rather well. However, I may have to make a second trip to get all the other stuff, but that's okay. I can do that. Alright guys, just doing a little bit of an update, but I'm trying to keep my voice a little quiet. It is, well, it's late at night. It's probably like 1:30 or something like that. So I'm not quite done this yet, but I just want to jump in and do a little video just to kind of show you where I'm at with this. So actually, in a nutshell, if I were to explain this a little bit, it's going rather well. It's going together better. It's going together better than I actually anticipated. It definitely took longer to take apart than it has so far been to put together. So I mean, I got the fish in the tank. They're kind of spooked. They are kind of spooked in there. The water is kind of cloudy, but it's all in due time. Getting this out of the bucket has actually been fairly easy. I thought this would be the biggest pain in the bleep, but it's actually been just one scoop at a time. The water actually just like makes it float, and then once it's like 2/3 empty, I just dump it. As far as leaks and stuff go, I haven't had any yet. I don't really anticipate to see them, but at the same time I wouldn't be surprised if I do. But I am watching it carefully and ready to deal with it. Other than that, I'll yeah. Alright, we got it on. It is like 3:30 in the morning. Got my one little plant in there. Nothing on the other side. It's definitely cloudy, but the chemistry, I just did the chemistry, looks really good. Actually, there's nothing, it looks normal. This thing still needs some more water. So right now I'm basically just letting it flow. But so far, no leaks. I don't really anticipate any leaks, but you know, still keeping an eye out for them. But yeah, other than that, I was actually pretty surprised at how all that went in. Next time I need to move these things, or if anybody else out there, you need to move, get this wet, keep it soaked. When it's full of water, these things just basically float, and it's just very easy to scoop out. If I send a little drain, it's been a long couple of days, lacking some sleep. Probably need to eat, I'm hungry, but it's 3 in the morning. So, yeah, have another update probably in the morning for you, and you'll see that right away here. Alright, good morning guys. Well, I guess it's good afternoon. It's 12:30, I'm up. A little tired, but I'm up. So, the system seems to be alright. The only, I mean, the cloudiness is still there. It's still, it's better, but it's still cloudy. The fish are very sketchy. They're very stressed. I did a quick ammonia test. Ammonias are at what I would consider normal. I didn't do any of the other tests because I don't think I was going to see anything. I mean, I doubt it would be a pH shift or change. And even if there was, the sensitivity of that test is not strong enough to really make it noticeable. So all in all, it's operational. So the next step from here, I guess, is to figure out what to do with the top. I reckon I'm going to have to cut off a couple of inches off the previous one. But at the same time, I want to make sure I do, like, you know, complete this job and make it a better enclosure than what I saw before. So I'm not going to be in any particular rush with that. You know, hopefully within the next couple of weeks I'll have an idea. I get a lot of light in here, so I don't know. I'm just going to watch it and observe it and just see what happens, I guess. Other than that, some of the benefits too, I didn't mention last night because, you know, it was kind of late. I have a lot of room around the system to get in and touch things, poke at things. That's kind of the nice thing about this. I don't have to cram it into a corner anymore. In fact, I got plenty of room to actually get into things, which is awesome. So, yeah, other than that, I'm still moving in and getting settled, so it's hard to say when this video will get published. I mean, it is April the 28th, just for your records, and other than that, before this gets too long here, thank you for taking the time to view this video, and I would appreciate if you liked it and shared it with anybody that you thought would have an interest in this. I'll keep you posted.